Hi everyone, welcome to the Witching Week. Today is episode number 85. Today we are talking about excitement over the burr months. We're talking about baby pigeons. We're talking about funny horoscopes and just a general rundown of the week really. So grab a cup of tea, put some incense on, get comfy and we'll explore the Witching Week. Hi everyone, hi witches, thank you for being here, thank you for watching, welcome. Today is episode number 85. I just cannot believe that we've had 85 of these. Thank you so much for watching and thank you if you've watched from the beginning. I know that many of you have. So first things first, I am burning some Satya Namaste today. I would say, I'm getting the powder everywhere. I would say this is a bit like the Nag Champa, but with a slightly perfumey sort of like after smell. It's not unpleasant at all, but if I had this one and the Nag Champa together, then I would pick the Nag Champa. But yeah, not unpleasant. It just doesn't stand out really. I think it's sort of neither here nor there. And then for a drink, I'm on the water today. It's been so hot. I just didn't feel like a hot drink today. So that is what we have got. What are you enjoying at home? Let me know in the comments. So how has your week been? Has it been average? Has it been amazing? Has it just been a bit meh? Let me know in the comments. Apologies first and foremost, before I forget, for the sound last week. So someone had said the sound on one of my videos had been really tinny, and it was. And I was a bit worried that maybe it was the device I'm recording on. So I thought, well, here is a perfect opportunity to try a microphone that I'd bought a couple of months previously. Unfortunately, the microphone just made things a million times worse. So I'm really sorry about that. Hopefully the sound on today's video is okay. There is an amount or some degree of sort of sound quality that is lost when my video gets uploaded to YouTube. It sounds absolutely perfect when it's recorded, and then YouTube has a bit of an issue with crunching the sound and the picture quality. I believe it does this to everyone. So you have to have really sort of like huge technical know-how and really good equipment to get to a point where you've got like perfect sound after you've uploaded. I'm not quite at that stage yet. So yeah, my apologies for that. Hopefully it's much better today. So what have I been doing? I've spent the last couple of weeks trying desperately to catch up on everything. I've had such a busy year in terms of personal admin, things that just need sorting out in the background. So yeah, I've been flat out trying to get all manner of things done, including my work. And it's been really hot. Summer has arrived, although it's been perhaps a little bit too hot. So Tuesday we had the hottest day of the year and we had 32 degrees, which is hot for us in England. And that's the temperature at which we all start moaning. So first everyone's really cold and miserable and fed up, and then they have hot weather for a couple of days and generally they can't cope. I have been loving it. I've been very careful though. It does affect my heart. So as much as I want to go out in the sun and be out in it, it doesn't really like me now. So I just have to take little snippets here and there. So I've been reading a book. I've spoken about this a couple of times on the Witching Week, and I'm going to be reviewing that over on Patreon. So I've just been going out for like half an hour here and there to read my book. So that's been really nice. I was really shocked. So when we have the hot weather, I really worry about people, I worry about animals, and to some degree I worry about the land as well. But I was really shocked to learn that in 2022, which I think was the year that we hit 40 degrees here, we had in excess of 25,000 wildfires in the UK. I had absolutely no idea. I mean, obviously they're a thing, they do happen from time to time. It wasn't too much of a shock to, you know, discover that this had happened when we'd hit 40 degrees, which is very worrying, by the way, but I had no idea of the scale. I remember finding wildfires when I was a kid over the common. A lot of those had been started and were arson. Some of them, obviously, just it happens if somebody leaves a glass bottle lying around and the sun beams through it. You know, it doesn't take much to create a fire. But I was shocked that we had so many in the UK in 2022, and that actually, you know, we have quite a few a year. So in that year, we had 800 wildfires on one day alone. That was the 19th of July. And over that summer, 20 houses were destroyed. I had no idea. I thought we'd lost 2. I remember them being reported on the news, and I thought that that was kind of like an anomaly for us. So I'm obviously really, really naive when it comes to this stuff. So I'm hoping that we've got past the risk stage now that we are at the, well, we're in August, aren't we? 2nd of August. Now that we've got through July. However, of course, this is dependent on temperatures, isn't it? And how dry everything is and whether there's been rain. Last year we had 26 degrees on the 10th of October, and the reason I've remembered that is because it was our 10th anniversary, my husband and I, and it was our wedding anniversary, so that weather really stood out for me on that particular date. So let's hope that this year isn't like that, for not just the people of the UK but obviously elsewhere. I know there have been fires, and that there are always fires elsewhere, but I just had no idea that we had such a problem in the UK, and it makes you wonder why more of this isn't reported. But anyway, that was quite a shock to me to learn that in the week. So yeah, I said I worry about animals as well. So on Monday night, we found a baby pigeon under our truck. So I'm assuming, looking at the state of it, I'm assuming it had fallen out the tree, probably the large sequoia that we have by our house. And he looked quite unwell. He seemed to be sort of like not breathing brilliantly, and flies were landing on him, and he just looked like he was covered in bits of, you know, bits of straw, and well, not straw, but I think particles of grass. So yeah, I can only assume he'd fallen out the tree, and we were very worried about him, and we kept an eye on him, and we did some research. And it seems like the thing that you are to do is actually to leave them, because hopefully their parents will locate them and feed them and look after them, and without that help they will die. Obviously, you know, baby pigeons are up a tree until the point at which it comes for them to fly. So we were very worried and very torn. You know, what do we do? On Tuesday, there was a complete turnaround, and he was up and he was waddling around, and if you got near him, he'd walk off. I think he'd been fed, because he had an energy that he just didn't have the day before. And I popped out in the morning, I had some bits and bobs to do, and my husband told me that he had actually seen him being fed by one of his parents, with the other one looking on. So I was really, really pleased about that. And as the week's gone on, he's done okay. We've seen him attempting to fly, to sit up on a post with his mum, and I just hope that one of the cats doesn't get to him. He's managed to get this far, so I'm really, really pleased about that. But it caused a real moral dilemma with us. You know, what do we do? Do we do anything? Do we put him in a box and try and take care of him? I mean, obviously baby birds, they eat the food that's been regurgitated by their parent. They can't eat seeds, they can't eat any of the things that you might think to put out for birds. They have to have that food broken down for them, and I guess that's where they get a lot of their moisture from. You know, they're up in the tree, they don't come and drink out of a bird bath or anything like that. And yeah, it caused us a huge moral dilemma. Do we get involved? Don't we? And sometimes it is really difficult, isn't it, to know when to step in, whether it be a situation like this or actually in witchcraft, and it should be difficult to know when to step in, because really we have to consider that if we get involved in something, are we, in trying to do good and in trying to help, are we actually causing harm? Sometimes things have to pan out naturally and the way they're supposed to, for people to learn and evolve and grow. So it's a really, really tricky one. As witches, we have to decide, and we have to discern, and we have to understand, and we have to know when to step in and when to leave something alone, magically speaking. And a large percentage of the time, I would not get involved in stuff. So whether that be for myself, or if someone came to me asking for help. Now obviously, if someone came to me and said someone's hurting a child, then I wouldn't think twice about taking action. But in terms of trying to sort of influence the future and how things might pan out, I am very much of the feeling that sometimes we should just let things pan out naturally, because that is all part of the path. And if you are a witch who believes in reincarnation, and many witches do, there is that whole karmic thing, isn't there? That there are karmic lessons that our soul has to learn as we travel through life, and our various different lives, for our soul to evolve and develop and grow. So it's really, really tricky, isn't it? And dealing with the baby pigeon this week really, has got me thinking about that. I've been really, really scared that someone's going to drive in. There aren't supposed to be any cars driving through our cemetery, but people do. And I've been really worried that someone's going to come in and not see him and, run him over. But thankfully, he hasn't been getting too near the track for most of the time. But yeah, it's really got me thinking about other things, when to get involved, when not to get involved, and it's a tricky one, it's a tough one. So one thing that has really, really made me laugh this week is some funny horoscopes. It was a photo of a paper. I don't know where they have appeared. It looks almost a little bit like the eye, but I'm not sure they would put them in there. But anyway, there were 3 that really stood out to me and really made me laugh. So I'm going to put them on screen, but I'm going to read them out to you as well. It did make me laugh. So Aries, since you love brutal honesty so much, here's some for you. You're never going to achieve your dreams. You'll repeat the same mistakes over and over again until you die. That death grip you've got on the past, yeah, don't let go. Remember all the pain you've caused and know that it's because of who you are as a person. You will never change. So absolutely brutal. Gemini is good. I'm fluent in sarcasm. How about you be fluent in shut the up? You aren't just two-faced, you have an entire flipbook of faces, and you don't even try to hide the fact that you're a deceitful, insincere, vile excuse of a human being. Your FBI agent goes to therapy because of you. You are going to commit arson this month. So that little bit on the end made me laugh. And then Pisces, there is no horoscope. Just please go to therapy. So I'm guessing this might be actually an American paper with a mention of the FBI, but yeah, that did make me laugh. That did give me a giggle, and I did share it in our Patreon group, and everyone was much amused by that. So online, I have seen everywhere lots of excitement about the bear months. So if you don't know what the bear months are, they're September, October, November. And I have seen so much buzz and excitement. And by the way, I am still on Instagram. There's been a couple of posts recently about, I haven't seen you in a while. The Instagram algorithm is a complete monster, and that would be a full-time job in itself to keep up with it and to grow. It's a complete nightmare on Instagram at the moment. It's so difficult to grow if that's what you want, because you've got a business, for example. But anyway, I am here. I just won't be a slave to it. And of course, I'm over here on YouTube. We've got some videos coming in the next couple of months, so I'm back to producing content for here. And of course, I'm over in Patreon, and I'm busy with my top supporters. So I am around. But anyway, the time that I have spent on Instagram the last couple of weeks, I have seen so much in the way of excitement for the bear months, and I love it. It's really, really nice. But there are so many autumnal posts. So it's not just the excitement of people talking, it's all the posts, all the autumn posts. And that's absolutely okay if that's what you want to immerse yourself in. But me personally, I want to stay in the moment just a little bit. I don't want to wish my life away. Life is way too short, and we still, meteorologically speaking, we still have a month of summer left here in the UK, and ours has barely got going, so I'm not ready to let go of that just yet. There is only one time, and this is a sentiment repeated by many philosophical people over the years, so Ram Dass and Eckhart Tolle, and I tend to agree with them that there is only one time, and that is now. Enjoy being in the moment, enjoy whatever is happening around you. Look out the window and celebrate that. Don't be too far in the past or too far in the future. Now, obviously, this is rich coming from me, because when I do my newsletters, there's a link for my free newsletter in the comments, by the way, in the description. When I'm doing my newsletters and I'm doing Patreon, most of the time I work a month ahead so that you've got time to prepare for the next Sabbath, unless that Sabbath is at the end of the month, and I try and do it in the month. But yeah, don't look too far ahead and don't be in the past. Just be here in this minute now. Obviously, I'm not telling you what to do. It's entirely up to you. And I get it. I enjoy the autumn season as well. It's beautiful. There's such a lovely feel to it. There's the excitement that so many people seem to share in the run up to Samhain. But I am not someone who is a proponent of this idea that autumn is the season of the witch. Why? All year round is the season of the witch. Every season is the season of the witch. And I know I talk about this every year, but witches are very much about balance and about cycles. And if we're going to celebrate cycles and we're going to celebrate balance, then it's really important that we stay in the moment and we enjoy what we have at the time instead of skipping over bits. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. Get excited for autumn. I totally get it. But in terms of just seeing all the autumnal posts, it's 32 degrees, it's 28 degrees, it's not happening yet, it's not coming for a little while. So yeah, it's up to you, of course, what you do. And it's lovely seeing everybody's excitement, it really is. But we've only just come out of July. Autumn's a little way yet. Just hang on, guys, it's coming, it's coming. So that kind of leads me on to my next point in a way. I have to stop saying so at the beginning of each segment, but it just kind of makes sense for me to do that almost. But anyway, so the summer months, so the time that we have now, and then the winter in the southern hemisphere, which is sort of happening now. These are the busiest times, you know. We can get out and about here, we can go do stuff, there are things that are on, there are things that are planned, there's fetes and parties and barbecues and summer fairs. And I know that people in the southern hemisphere, I know that they tend to do more sometimes in their winter. Happening now. Yeah, I'm making a mess of this, aren't I? Anyway, they tend to be able to do more because the weather's a little bit cooler. So this is the really, really busy time, I think, in the calendar year for everybody. It's one of the hardest times in that respect to be a witch in many ways. There are lots of pressures. Here in the UK, school has broken up for everybody now. That's up in Scotland, they break up like a month ahead of us. We've just broken up here in England, and so that means that there are extra pressures on people, especially women. It's okay to be busy. It's really okay to have lives, jobs, children. You know where I'm going with this. I've seen in quite a few places on Instagram at the moment people saying that they don't feel witchy enough, and I thought we'd take 10 minutes to just have a little look at that. So what makes somebody witchy? What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think witchy is. If you could embody that in a few words, if you could say what witchy is to you, I'd be really, really interested to know. Is it somebody's clothes? Is it their hair? Is it their available time and what they do with that time? Is it where they go? Is it the number of spells they do throughout a year? I think sometimes I have a very, very different view of what witchy is compared to other people, and perhaps that's why I am so comfy and settled in my own witchhood. I really don't think that it is a set formula. I think it's what you feel in your heart and the beliefs that you have and the path that you follow. And yes, obviously, you know, for something to be a witchcraft practice, there is an element of doing there, but I think everybody practically gives themselves such a hard time on this. There is no gold standard, there is no set list, there's no tick list of things that you've got to do and have in place for you to be witchy enough. And I suspect that everybody who walks this path or considers themselves a witch, I am sure that they will do more witchy things than they will realise when they actually think about how they go about things, their beliefs, just the way they, you know, I'm talking about like everyday bits and bobs. So like cooking, for example, I expect you approach cooking in a very different way to people who do not consider themselves to be witches or to follow a witchcraft path or haven't even thought about this. I guarantee that you will cook very, very differently to a person like that. So please stop giving yourself a hard time. That's so important. I think giving yourself a hard time is probably the least witchy thing. So you can be forgiven for being busy, for running children around, for running a business or going to work, having a full-time job. I think that reading a book on herb witchcraft, for example, is just as valid as going on a witchcraft course. I think that exploring, honouring and celebrating the Sabbats at home, either by yourself or with a partner or as a family, involving the kids and having fun, I think that is just as valid as going to Stonehenge or Avebury for the solstice, say. And let's be honest, the village wise woman, whilst she, you know, perhaps would have learned from an aunt or a mother or just from some other person in the village, she didn't go on a witchcraft course. She didn't go on a course. There were no special courses, and she probably most likely didn't go to Stonehenge or Avebury to celebrate certain dates. Let's be honest. I mean, she might have, or he might have, you know, in the case of our cunning folk from years gone by, but you know what I'm saying, So please stop giving yourself such a hard time and just enjoy life. Enjoy it, enjoy every single moment of it. And then when you have got the time to do something special, it will just feel so much nicer because you didn't give yourself you know, a hard time in the run up to doing it. You can just accept it as it is and enjoy it. And sometimes I feel that when you take that pressure off of yourselves, then it's just so much easier to find the time and to find the energy to get involved in stuff. And you might see other pagans like myself going to certain places at certain times. I've just been very lucky. I'm lucky, for example, to have a partner, a husband, who he might not call himself pagan, he might not put himself in that box, he doesn't call himself pagan, he doesn't call himself a witch, but I'm lucky in that he is sympathetic to what I do and believe in and is happy to go along with me. Many people don't have that. Many people have caring responsibilities, young children, elderly parents, and aren't able to use that time or their time to go do stuff like that. But for those of us that can do stuff like that, many of us, you know, we have found ourselves in teaching roles and stuff like that, and that is where we have to give back. You know, sometimes I think the fact that I can go and do these things means that I should give something back in terms of the craft, and help those that perhaps, you know, haven't always got an abundance of time. So please stop giving yourself a hard time. You don't have to go on courses, you don't have to go visit special places, you don't have to wear certain clothes. I mean, I don't know what percentage of people that meet me suspect that I'm a witch, but there's definitely days where people can't tell. There's definitely days where I'm in leggings and a t-shirt and my hair's a mess and I haven't put my makeup on, and I am just drudging through the food shop, planning for the kids to come at the weekend, or the kids are here, you know, and I'm not saying that those are, you know, awful mundane things, but I'm saying they are things that sometimes take away from feeling witchy and doing something special. You know, sometimes there are jobs that need to get done. I need to clean the bathroom, or I've got a hospital appointment that's going to take me half a day or nearly the whole day by the time we travelled to the hospital, got parked, walked to the department, waited, been seen, gone and got our ticket validated, walked back to the car, got in the car, got caught up in traffic, got in, needed to do the dinner, needed to sort out the washing, needed to write a letter or go online and pay a bill. Day gone. Day gone. And if you have a hospital appointment that falls on one of the Sabbaths, Sabbath ruined. Not quite, but you know what I'm saying. So please stop giving yourself such a hard time. Celebrate you, the fact that you're on this path, and this is where your heart is, to me, says you are witchy enough. That isn't our last topic. We've got one more, and then we're going to do some cards. So something I've been enjoying looking at this year is crop circles. We've had quite a few this year, and I have been on a website called Crop Circle Access. I've been on quite a few crop circle groups on Facebook, and there is so much arguing on them. I can't believe it. Now, about 20 years ago, I was a crop circle chaser with my boyfriend at the time. I was in a position, no, so it can't have been quite 20 years ago. It was more like 17, because my daughter was a baby. And we were in a position with both our jobs where occasionally, so me looking after a baby, I say jobs. I'm trying to get to the story, but my brain is minutes behind my mouth. Anyway, he had a job where occasionally he could jump in the car with me, and we would go and have a look at them, and I would take my daughter with me. So she'd come crop circle chasing with us. And back then, so sort of 17 to 20 years ago, crop circles were popping up here, there and everywhere. They were really abundant, and then it went quiet. It all kind of fizzled out, and it went quiet for very many years. And it seems that just recently there have been lots of crop circles popping up. So I'm going to put aside the conversation and the arguments about, you know, the farmer and it ruining his crop and blah, 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 because there are various theories on stuff like that as well. You know, and it all comes down to, are they man-made or are they made by something bigger? And some people will say man-made, and some people will say that actually the farmer quite often makes a bit of money from them, because quite often when you go to visit them, there'll be a box for donations. And I've given quite a bit of money across the years to farmers to go carefully into their field and have a look at the crop circles. So I'm going to put that aside. I just wanted to bring your attention to this website in case it was something you're into but you hadn't found it yet. And yeah, it's all very interesting. They're mainly in wheat. There have been some made in barley, and I just thought I would give you this information on this website. If nothing else, it's lovely just looking at the pictures of them, and that's exactly what I do these days. I haven't been into a crop circle for many years, but I did want to tell you about my daughter's experience of when we went into one. So she was about a year and a half, and we knew that there had been a crop circle that had come up in Avebury. It was a beautiful day and we were both free, and we were able to jump in the car that morning and get down there really quickly before we knew that other people would start to turn up to have a look. Now, this crop circle was within some crop that was very close to Windmill Hill in Avebury. So you go out the back of the church and you find yourself onto like a country road, and it takes you up to Windmill Hill, and there's a lovely meadow, and there are various fields that you walk past as you go up this country road. Now, my daughter was asleep in her buggy. She was very, very subdued. She was quite tired, had been. She was just sort of dozing. And we got up to the entrance. There was a donation box. There was boards with arrows saying crop circle straight up. From what we could see, access had been granted. So I lifted her out of the buggy and I went into the field, and we entered the crop circle, which was absolutely pristine. It had been made in the night and it was in perfect condition when we got into it, and we were the only people there at that stage. Now, my daughter woke up, and I've never seen her so excited. She was just like a complete lunatic. She was running around, she was squealing, she was giggling, she was so full of energy. And I hadn't seen her behave like that before, but I didn't put it down to anything weird at all until we came out of the crop circle, and immediately, like this, she went back to the state she had been before. I put her in her buggy, and immediately, so for the only bit of time that she was in the crop circle, she was awake, she was buzzing about, she was giggling, laughing, throwing herself around. There was a marked difference between the energy of my daughter inside and outside the crop circle, and it will be an experience that I will never ever forget. The crop circle itself was fascinating, looking at the formation of it, how neat it was, looking at the stalks and seeing that they'd been bent in certain places, and just how flat everything was. It really was quite incredible. And the precision, I mean, you could tell the precision from the ground as to the image that you would be able to see from above. And quite, if it is people making these, which there is a lot to suggest, as much as I would like it to be ETs, I can't quite bring myself to watch the video of people doing it, because I don't want that lovely mystery in my own head to be ruined. But if it is people making them with boards, planks, as people suggest, then it is absolutely incredible, and nothing can quite explain the scenario with my daughter. I mean, you know what tiny ones are like when they wake up. Quite often they cry, they're grumpy, they take a little while to come around after they've had a sleep. But she just launched into action, and then as quick as she'd done that, she launched out of it as we exited the crop circle, as we exited the field. So very, very interesting, amazing experience that I will never forget. Even though I haven't formed an opinion on what crop circles are and what I think they're all about, I can't ignore the experience that I had. And like all of these things, I always go into things open-minded. I wasn't expecting to have a situation like that. I wasn't expecting to experience anything in particular or feel anything in particular. I was just having a nice day out with my daughter and my boyfriend at the time. So yeah, very, very interesting. So let me know what you think about crop circles. Have you ever been in one? Have you ever been to see one? Is it something that interests you or not? Do you think that it's just people doing it? Do you think there's maybe something slightly otherworldly going on there? I would love to know what you think. As you know, on the Witching Week, we love talking about this sort of stuff. That does not mean that, I believe one way or another on a lot of things. I just feel that it's really nice to bring these things up and to to chat about them. You know, the world is mysterious. It should be mysterious, and that's what makes it fun. So let's do some cards. Let's have a little look at some of the things that you might encounter for the week ahead, some of the energy that might be around, and some of the ways in which you might handle things. So I decided to pick 4 cards today. I nearly stopped at 3, but I was told to pick a 4th card, so I did. And my goodness, we've got the Queen of Cups, we've got the Devil, we've got the King of Swords, and we've got the King of Cups. And isn't there a lot of very mature energy going on there? So I feel like this is, as per usual, I feel like this is telling you how to behave, you know, how your behaviour and your thought processes and being mature and adult and grown up. And yes, I know I'm saying that to a bunch of adults, but sometimes we need that reminder that we need to approach something in a grown up and mature way. That is something that is a big message here that you are going to have to really pay attention to. So there's all sorts here. There is the fact that yes, you know, it's good to be in flow, it's good to use your intuition, it's good to tap into those maternal, sort of motherly, mature lady aspects of yourself, but you're going to have to team that with using your brain and thinking very carefully about the words that come out of your mouth, so using your intellect. So I feel like that there has to be a real balance in how you approach things in the week or week and a half or 2 weeks to come. Also, there is that message there of, you know, not feeling like the aspects of yourself that are governed by your shadow side, not feeling like you're a victim to those and you don't have any control over them. You absolutely do. That is why we have the appearance of 1 queen and 2 kings here. You very much are in control. You're in control of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and guess what? You're going to need to be. That is the message here. So lean into that nurturing, loving, calm, intuitive, warm side of yourself, but also be prepared to say to yourself, right, you need to get a grip. This might be something about you, but you can handle that and you can pull that into line. And to use your intellect here, to use your intellect and your intelligence, both in how you deal with yourself, you know, with these worries that come up, but also in how you're dealing with others. So you've got a period coming up where you very much have to step into that mature energy. So not masculine or female, it's a balance, but stepping into that mature energy and, you know, really being quite considered about the way you go about things. Okay, so another lovely witching week this week. Thanks for being here. I love doing this. I appreciate you guys so much. And just a huge thank you, because every watch allows me to keep doing this. Every play, every video that you share or comment on, you're really helping to support me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I love just getting together with you guys and having a platform, having a space, a void that I can sort of shout into, if you like. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that we all get to do this together. So if you're new to the channel and this is the first witching week that you've watched, please give me a like. Apparently it's the likes that get the video pushed out to new eyes. So if nothing else, it would be lovely if you subscribed and you came on this journey with us. And why don't you sign up to my Patreon? We have such a great group and it would be lovely to expand on that. But if you do nothing else, please just give it a thumbs up, because then other people will get a chance to see this in their news feeds. So on that note, have an absolutely awesome week, a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next Friday.